Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Sunday, October 22nd, 2023. Want to go over some of the headlines and the top show on Netflix right now and really how it's all connected. If you have Netflix, I think the top show on there right now, The House or the Fall of the House of Usher, I think it's a must watch. I think that show spells out exactly what we've been educating about for the last decade. And if you haven't seen it, we'll talk about it a little bit. I won't ruin the show, but the headlines we want to go over. The president of the Detroit synagogue found stabbed to death Saturday, October 21st. Of course, that was Netanyahu's 74th birthday. As we know, the Ides of March, the 74th day of the year, to remember the stabbing of Caesar. Of course, in Gematria, stabbing and killing have that value of 74. We'll also talk about the Attorney General in Michigan, who we've talked about before, Dana Nessel, who this woman worked with, and how perfectly coordinated her death is with Dana Nessel. And we know Dana Nessel's no good. She's been perfectly synced with the fake shootings in Michigan that literally that's what they've been using to undermine the Second Amendment. And I've spoken on this many a times. Again, it's not anti-Semitic to point out facts. Not all Jewish people are responsible for what's going on in this nation. But there are a lot of Jewish people in high places that have a lot to do with what's going on, including the undermining of the First and Second Amendment. Again, you cannot blame Judaism or Jewish people, but you can fairly point out that if you look at who's in the media, who's really actively trying to undermine the First and Second Amendment, a huge percentage of those people are Jewish, which is something to consider when they claim that only 1% of the world's population is Jewish. So if there wasn't some extra Jewish bias in this agenda, you should see 1 out of 100 people involved in it being Jewish. But the reality is you see 9 out of 10 people involved are like Dana Nessel, who's Jewish. Again, this is not anti-Semitic. These are facts. And it's just like how I documented it in the flesh here in Washington State when I went to the March for Our Lives rally, where everyone was talking a bunch of nonsense about why we should take away rights and liberties, and everyone leading the event was Jewish. And of course, that event came out of the Stoneman Douglas shooting in a neighborhood that's 80% Jewish. And of course, we all got to look at the FBI agent's son, David Hogg, who said he was going to outlive all the people questioning the events of Stoneman Douglas. And remember, they said the majority of students killed at Stoneman Douglas were killed in room 1214, and it was compared to Sandy Hook, which happened on 1214, December 14th, where the parents that have gotten the most attention out of that were Jewish, and they have been actively working to undermine the First and Second Amendment. And those are the parents of Noah Posner. So again, there's nothing anti-Semitic about what I'm saying. What I'm saying is fair. You cannot blame all Jewish people. You know, there's a lot of Jewish people. Most of them have absolutely nothing to do with anything that I'm talking about. But the ones that you see in TV, you know, barking about why we should get rid of the First and Second Amendment, that's who I'm targeting. And again, we're exposing Gematria, a Jewish code, a Kabbalistic code of putting numbers into words, and how things just line up so perfectly by this code every day. And as we'll get to, you know, it's no accident that Samantha Wool is dead 185 days after Dana Nessel, her 54th birthday, while she's the 54th Attorney General. Again, these people work together. And we know Dana Nessel's a no-good human being. It's not because she's Jewish. It's because she's a no-good human being. She wants to ruin what the country's about. She wants to participate in manufactured mass shootings and make big claims out of those things about what they're going to do with their agenda. So, but again, you know, prominent Jewish leader murdered, stabbed to death on Netanyahu's 74th birthday. You know, hello, Ides of March. And, you know, hello, my life, too. On the 74th day of the year in 2017, I had every online account I have hacked. The first one hacked was my Facebook account. And I had a similar password for all my accounts, but different variations of it for a lot of different things. So it was amazing that they hacked literally every account I have. But again, it's funny that, you know, it was Facebook the first that was hacked, and Facebook's address is on One Hacker Way. Look it up if you don't know that. That's their headquarters. Facebook's address is one hacker away, and Mark Zuckerberg is Jewish, and his birthday is the same day as Israel's. And of course, Israel was 74 earlier this year, and Netanyahu just turned 74, and the Gaza Strip 74, and the Superior General 74. Who's not Jewish? He's Catholic, the Superior General. That's Arturo Sosa. But again, the Jesuits, they're the Catholic Jewish Alliance. And just to go back to Dana Nessel, you remember when like everything was going on with Michigan and the number was 152 all the time, and even an actress who'd portrayed Madonna who went to Michigan, young actress, found dead, and it was 152 days from Madonna's birthday, and in Gematria, Michigan equals 152. If you weren't here at the time, this was back in 2021, we were just covering nonstop Michigan 152 rituals. And anyhow, when Dana Nessel was connected to that Oxford, Michigan mass shooting, which again, I'm not sure that happened at all, but again, she came out with big talk about how they're going to change all the gun laws in Michigan. Just realized it was exactly 152 weeks after she had become Attorney General. And again, Michigan, 152. Go back to that work from that period of time. YouTube's deleted a lot of things, again, because of the you-know-who's at YouTube who hate the First Amendment and hate people like me exposing their shenanigans and their evil bullshit that they're doing every single day. Again, they use their invented terms like hate speech to take somebody like me down who's never been about hate speech. I just speak facts. And again, if a video like this should get taken down, you know what? Netflix should have to remove the fall of the House of Usher, and we'll get to why that is. Because what they do in that show is more blatant than what I'm exposing here. And also, the other day we talked about the ritual of the supposed hostages released, and I didn't even have this detail at the time, but we went to the latest 201 find on that day. Of course, if you're new here, I'm always talking about 201 and the Jesuit order. In Gematria, the Jesuit order equals 201. Jewish mysticism equals 201. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201. He's the Jew who converted to Catholicism, who founded the Jesuit order. You have Jorge Mario Bergoglio, that's Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201. His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio's 201. State of Israel's 201. David Ben-Gurion died 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Netanyahu stepped down June 13, 2021, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. He returned on 12/29, where 12/29 is the 201st prime, and on and on and on. But anyway, after they released these supposed hostages, which we know is another contrived crap story in the news, they said an estimated 201 remain held. I mean, just, you guys, for all the brain-dead people who think all of this is just organic in the Matrix, you guys are literally just fucking morons, okay? You're fucking retarded. You wouldn't write an estimated 201. Nobody talks like that. An estimated 200 would make sense, but not an estimated 201. 201 is a high calling number, just like it wasn't organic that they had Event 201 on 10/18 Satan Day, the simulation of the coronavirus pandemic, only for it to be declared 666 days after the first coronavirus pandemic simulation on May 15, 2018. Again, just the people that hang around just to leave comments, what you don't understand, Zach, is just how the universe works. I mean, do you guys respond to evidence that I'm laying down every day, or do you just keep coming here and just like regurgitating your bullshit? Who says an estimated 201 hostages remain? Here's another one. At least 201 people, including children, were captured by Hamas and taken into Gaza. Oh, really? How about the BBC? The fate of the remaining 201 hostages remains in the balance. Well, at least they didn't throw the word estimate in there. But remember, the BBC's has always been run by Jesuits, just like the New York Times. So I know if I go through enough of my old blog posts, I'll find it, but I'm not going to sit here and spend 50 hours searching. This girl right here who's used in this hostage story, I've seen her face in another story that I've covered. I can't remember what it is, but I know it's not the first time I've seen her face. So, somebody can identify that would be great. What's the number that's right alongside 201? 84. 84. The Jesuit order 201, the small way 84. Israel declared the war on October 8th, the day leaving 84 days left in the air. Again, they're linking everything back to Iran. Again, Iran's puppet leader who was installed by the CIA. He's 84 years old right now. Remember, in Gematria, Zionism equals 84, Masonry equals 84, Jesuit equals 84, the Jesuit Order equals 84, the Catholic Church equals 84, United States of America 84, so on and so forth. But now we have a story of a 84-year-old Holocaust survivor who nearly escaped the conflict in Israel. And again, the Jesuit Order, notice the 201 and 84, like we've been talking about. Look at Holocaust survivor, right? We've gone over this point many a times. Holocaust survivor, 201. So, always a Holocaust survivor around. And, I mean, like, shouldn't there be a lot of Holocaust survivors in Israel? Why is this even a story? I thought that's where they got relocated to British-controlled Palestine after the World Wars. But yeah, just the point is how they always just have to keep giving you the same numbers over and over. Over and over and over and over and over. And here we are, yesterday we covered Palestine's puppet leader calling for peace on Netanyahu's 74th birthday, to which Netanyahu and Israel responded, no thank you, we're just going to bomb you even more. And that was yesterday's coverage. But CNN keeps saying the ground invasion is imminent. Notice how ground invasion has that gematria of 74, just like how Netanyahu just turned 74. Like, again, Jewish is 74, and killing is 74, and stabbing 74, and occult 74, and Masonic, again, you know the list. But, yeah, just the way the whole coverage is of the news. I mean, for like a week, they've been saying the ground invasion's imminent. It's going to happen at any minute. It still doesn't happen, but they present it to you like it's an action film. Don't tune away. Stay for the next set of commercials because the ground invasion's imminent. But realize it's going to happen now after Netanyahu turns 74. And here, let's just make sure we covered everything before we jump into the fall of the House of Usher. Again, one more time, the prominent Jewish leader in Detroit found stabbed to death on Netanyahu's 74th birthday, when we've educated about why the Ides of March. Oh yeah, I didn't finish talking about my own Ides of March thing. Again, I got hacked to death on the 74th day of the year back in 2017, and that was right before my channel was deleted for the first time on Elon Musk's birthday, who's also one of them. Again, there's a lot of prominent Jews like Bill Gates and Elon Musk who don't mention their religion, but it's very clear that they're Ashkenazis if you just take a look at them. And anyhow, ever since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, which is another 74 thing, there's been way more censorship on it, while Fox News, which is completely Jewish, keeps talking about how he's the leader of free speech. It's like, there's more censorship since he took over. I mean, this guy's just a joke. And a puppet, by the way, who's probably never done nothing in his life other than be a puppet and be born into the cabal. Everyone thinks he's some brainiac, building electric cars, changing everything, rockets to space. Bullshit. Learn this code and see what a joke Elon Musk is, and why he was declared the richest man in the history of the world for the first time ever on the 78th anniversary of the death of Tesla, when Tesla equals 78 like Jesuit. But, yeah, the other thing that happened to me on the Ides of March was in 2019. I got my revenue stream cut off. And it started with the Jewish company, Etsy, out of Brooklyn, New York, which equals 74. They were the first to ban me on the Ides of March. And they banned the one that hurt the most, because, again, that was where I was making my revenue at the time from my book sales on Etsy. 5-star reviewed book that had been up for about a year, no problem. And then all of a sudden just deleted on the 74th day of the year, cutting off my income. And, again, I mean, isn't it obvious why this is? Isn't it obvious why they'd cut off my book about gematria? By the way, if you're new here, Gematria 74, English 74, Energy 74. Again, my book about gematria, educating about the code behind the English language and where it comes from, just banned out of nowhere on the 74th day of the year, and Etsy never provided a reason for why. But remember what happened on the Ides of March 2019. It was another correct future prediction from us, and the prior October, we had said why we needed to watch the Ides of March 2019. They were foreshadowing a big event coming on that day. We knew that through the Austin and mega bombings, because they coded the names of people from the time of Roman history and the stabbing of Caesar. So we said, okay, this is obviously pointing to the next upcoming Ides of March. And then sure enough, you had the Christ Church New Zealand mosque killings on that day. Again, back then I could get views. I put out 2 videos that day. One got over 500,000 views the first day. The other got like 350,000 views in the first day. My ebooks were selling like crazy that day until all of a sudden it just came to a direct halt because they were banned. And it was Etsy, and then it was I forget the name of the other platform I was selling it on at the time. There were 2 others actually. I can't remember. The majority of sales came through Etsy, but all 3 platforms ended up banning my book in the same day, led by Etsy, again out of Brooklyn, New York, under Jewish ownership. So again, I mean, the fact that we live in a nation where everything I'm saying in this video right now is on the cusp and maybe shouldn't be said and could be banned and censored, that should just show you what kind of world we're living in. Literally, these people are, and again, I'm not blaming all Jewish people, but I am saying there's a group of them that are really bad apples that are fucking up this nation. And not just this nation, this world, okay? They're fucking up this world, and they know what they're doing. And they're getting away with it because they've mind-controlled everybody through their news media and their Schindler's List films and all their Steven Spielberg propaganda. Steven Spielberg codes 201 into literally all of his movies. Jewish mysticism 201. But these people's mind control works on the average Goyim slave. It doesn't work on somebody like me. It never has, because I've always seen what a load of shit the world is. And I've always questioned everything, and which is the same reason I figured out the code. And again, I mean, these people have done so much damage to me. So much damage. And who knows how much totally, because like my book, I'm pretty sure my book has sold a lot more than I've been told, and I'm pretty sure they've pocketed the funds from my hard research. But yeah, I mean, you can't even, I have no idea how much I've lost because of these people, but it's been done by the same code over and over. Books banned on the 74th day of the year. Everything online hacked and destroyed on the 74th day of the year. Now, let's not forget how they deleted my YouTube channel right before I was about to come back and announce where people could buy my book. And then I had no place to announce that because I didn't have a YouTube channel anymore. I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I had no strikes when I made that announcement at the time, which was actually pretty rare. And then they just figured out a way to delete the whole channel in the time that I said I was going to be gone, putting the final touches on the book. So these people, they fight dirty, they're cheap, they're dishonest, and then they hide behind their bullshit like hate speech. Oh, you called us out. That's hate speech. Delete, censor, ban, social credit score, punishment. Again, watching Again, a proud Jewish gay man on Bill Maher last Friday calling for all people who are deemed bigoted or anti-Semitic to be punished with a social credit scoring system. Again, you guys, imagine a dirty cabal of just liars and instigators and provokers who now have even more authority to destroy anyone who points out how evil and sinister they are. I mean, we're already there, right? It's been there, but it's just getting worse. So, and realize, for all the Jewish people who might get offended by anything I'm saying, again, pull your head out of your ass. I'm not blaming all Jewish people. I'm here defending the murder of a Jewish woman who was sacrificed for a Jewish woman that we know is no good, Dana Nessel, who's been scamming the country from her high seat as Attorney General in Michigan since she got there. Ritual after ritual, stage shooting, coming out, talking about ruining the country. Again, for all the Jewish people who get where I'm coming from, you guys need to think about your history of being kicked out of countries. Why do so many Jews get kicked out of countries? Why have the Jews been banned from countries? Why have the Jesuits, which are a Jewish Catholic alliance, been banned from countries? Why? It's because of bad apples. And I think it's every Jew's responsibility to call out these bad apples. You know? A few bad apples can ruin it for the whole bunch. I think every Jew should be asking Steven Spielberg to make a movie this holiday season about the genocide of the natives, so it doesn't just seem like Jew lives matter, right? Only Jew lives matter. We don't cover native genocides. Though they don't matter, only Jew lives matter. Why doesn't Jewish Hollywood make a movie about the native genocide? I think that would be good for Jewish street cred. Okay, so again, Dana Nessel clearly connected to the ritual sacrifice of Samantha Wool, and again, you can see that plain as day, learning Gematria, the Jewish code of putting numbers into words. It's why she's dead 185 days after Dana Nessel's 54th birthday, again, who is the 54th Attorney General of Michigan. And remember, 54 is a special number. Jesuit order equals 54. They live, which alluded to the code. Cable 54 is the enemy of the world. So, calling on all good Jews to out Dana Nessel. You know, not only does she scam the country and lie and fraud, she also sacrifices other Jewish women for her career. And just wait till we get to the fall of the House of Usher. The show just spells out exactly what's going on in this world, which we already knew. We've been proving it for years, but some people need a good Netflix show for it to sink in. And again, if you got here late, 201 remaining hostages in Israel. Go figure. Right again. Not only do we call the future, but we just continue to expose it every day and just pound home the point and educate about the numbers that if people would just take the time to learn, they'd say, oh my God, that guy's not tripping. 84-year-old Holocaust survivor. Say it isn't so. She just barely escaped. Thanks for the story. And here, let's transition to this show. So what this show is about is a brother and sister. They work for a pharmaceutical company, and they realize how corrupt the ownership of the company is. And the brother, between the brother and sister, he's in a moral crossroads. Does he expose to the feds how corrupt this company is and do a justice for the world? Or he's got his sister in his ear, and his sister's saying, listen, we can take over this company. And yeah, it might be corrupt as everything, but look at how powerful and rich it would make us. And what happens is they end up going with the sisters. You realize this relatively early in the show, so I'm not ruining anything, but they end up going with the sisters' plan, and after they go with the sisters' plan, they think they meet a woman in their life, but it turns out this woman is the devil. And the woman, she says, you know, if you make this deal with me, I'll assure that you'll never be prosecuted, you'll never be punished, you will grow to be wealthy and powerful, and all I ask is that in return, at the end of your lives, not only do I get both of your lives, I get all of your bloodline. So they think about it as young people. They're supposed to be like in their late 20s, around 30 years old at the time that they cross the devil. And you could assume that maybe the man is 30 years old, just like how Jesus is tempted by the devil and his ministry begins at age 30. The word Bible's 30. But based on what they show his age, he would have turned 30 in 1980. That's the year that they make this deal with the devil. But there's one point in the film where they realize that this woman, that she's not an actual woman, and she's existed all throughout history going way back over 100 years. And they notice that she's in these pictures with all these prominent world leaders and all these mega corporations. And then they see that she was right there at the beginning of Monsanto and all these pharmaceutical giants. And the thing is, from Monsanto to the Purdue family to the many other major corporations they show, the thing is about all of those companies is they were all founded by Jewish people. So you have the devil or Satan in these photos with all these prominent Jewish companies. And again, everyone knows what the legacy of Monsanto and Purdue and all these companies are. I mean, they've ruined the world. And there's even like specific dialogue where they went into the Monsanto. If you don't know what Monsanto did, they made these genetically modified seeds, and they made it so that, you know, when the winds come, the winds will blow off their genetically modified crops, or the winds will blow these crops and blow the seeds into other farmers' lands. And then what Monsanto did, if you don't know this, look into all this history. Monsanto, big powerful thing, who's got politicians in their pocket. They created all these laws that it was like severely punishable if you were caught on, if a farmer was caught with the Monsanto GMO plants growing on their land, they'd be in big trouble. And this is a hard thing for farmers to avoid because you got seeds blowing all over in the wind. So Monsanto then actively went out and investigated other farms, and sure enough, they found their crops growing in with the farmers' crops. Again, this is something Monsanto really did, and destroyed a lot of farmers. Financially just destroyed them, and then they took over their farms. And that dialogue, that, it's in the show. And again, the Bible, right? In the conclusion of the Bible, you have the Jews, the false Jews who claim to be Jews but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Deals with Satan, Jewish companies in history opposing with Satan. And again, what Satan does, it makes it impossible for these companies to be prosecuted. And anyhow, I just started to look into Edgar Allan Poe, and if there's a Jewish connection, just search Edgar Allan Poe Jewish. You'll see there's all kinds of Jewish publications that gloat about how Edgar Allan Poe grew up around a Jewish community and had many Jewish friends, and his line "Nevermore" came from a Jewish grandfather that he was around a lot. Edgar Allan Poe himself is not Jewish, but again, a lot of articles about how he learned a lot of what he learned from being in a Jewish community and around Jewish people. And his line "Nevermore," the most, remembered line from The Raven, it comes from a Jewish man, right? So the show is called The Fall of the House of Usher, but right at the top they have the title "Nevermore." And with regards to Gematria, like I always show them with Hollywood, notice this show came out on October 12th, right? So easy. That's the day leaving 80 days left in the year. The show is about how they made a deal with Satan on the day, or on New Year's Day in 1980. That's when it goes down. They meet Satan to start 1980, and they make their deal with the devil then. How perfect, right? And then again, October 12th, the day the show comes out, leaves 80 days left in the year, like the plot line. And keep in mind, October 12th was the eve of Friday the 13th. Remember, Friday the 13th, October 13th. It was Friday, October 13th, 1307, that the Knights Templar were burned at the stake for worshiping Baphomet, which is a satanic idol. Baphomet has the gematria of 80 when you run it forwards, whereas Satan is 80 in reverse. Excuse me. And what's funny is if you watch the scene, they're drinking a bottle of wine. Actually, hold on, before I get to the bottle of wine, let's also make the point. Recently Hollywood put out the show Nightfall about the fall of the Knights Templar and them being burned at the stake for worshiping Baphomet and how that came to be. And they tell the story of how one of the Templars was sleeping with the wife of the King of France who burned him at the stake. But in that show, a big plot line is how the Templars are divided over protecting Jews in France. So, but it's also an early storyline about just, having to protect the Jews because people are always picking on the Jews. But Jewish Hollywood doesn't want to really elaborate on why Jews are constantly under attack throughout history. And again, it's just a bullshit way to handle it. It's a totally dishonest and deceiving way that Judaism goes about acting like, oh, we don't know why people are always attacking us. Maybe they're jealous. Or is it because people are aware that there's a Jewish Talmud that says only Jews count as humans, and Goyim, which are non-Jews, are not smart enough to be considered human, and the purpose of Goyim is to be slaves for Judaism. I mean, that's literally what it says in their text. So, what, is it anti-Semitic to point that out? Because I've lost about 1,000 videos over the years for pointing out these things, and then they come down for hate speech. It's like, I feel like actually what I'm exposing is hate speech. I feel like a text that says, like, this race is superior, right? Isn't this what we learn? Like, white supremacists are hate speech because they think they're superior than other people. It's like, so that's not okay, but white Jewish people, It's okay for them to be superior. And it's actually hate speech if you point that out. I mean, you guys see how twisted and bullshit this is? But anyway, Satan and Baphomet 80. Again, watch the Nightfall show. This comes out on the eve of the anniversary of Friday, October 13th. That's the day it went down, right? So just think about that too. And what I was going to say is if you watch the show, you'll realize they're drinking a bottle of wine from 1925 for the New Year's 1980 celebration. So think about how many years 1925 is before 1980. It's 55 years. Satan in Gematria is 55 forwards, 80 in reverse. Satan's also 35 in reverse numerology, like Thursday's 35. We call it 35 Thursday. 35 rituals always on Thursday. And then Satan is 10 forwards with numerology. Notice Edgar Allan Poe published The Fall of the House of Usher in 1839, 10 years before his death in 1849. And in light of it being a pharmaceutical giant who's killed a lot of people and backed by Satan, thus they avoid prosecution or punishment, consider that Pfizer's 80. And remember, Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline are the most sued hit companies in the history of the world for wrongful death and injury. And then, of course, Purdue Pharma's right up there as well with Oxy. But you think that's an accident? Especially in light of what's going on in the world right now? Oh, one more thing about that bottle of wine being from 1925 that they're drinking, Devil's 25. And yes, if you watch the show, you'll notice that they're also drinking another type of alcohol. It's supposed to be like a $3 million bottle of alcohol because the whole bottle's diamonds and gold. But they're also drinking the wine from 1925. Don't overlook that detail if you watch the show. Now, in light of Edgar Allan Poe, what have we been covering like more than anything for the last year with death? We've been covering all the Baltimore Ravens deaths. It's just been out of control. And Baltimore's just been in focus for mass shootings, Baltimore Ravens deaths, just so much Baltimore, right? Baltimore, this very Catholic city. Again, the Jesuits, a Catholic-Jewish alliance. This show came out right after the anniversary of the death of Edgar Allan Poe. His death anniversary is October 7th, meaning this show came out 5 days later. Again, the Church of Satan has 5 degrees. The highest degree is Mega, M-A-G-A, like Donald Trump. Surely a member. Mr. Ego, Mr. Self-Worshipper, Mr. All of his children are married into Jewish families, right? Kushner, he even was at the address 666 there in New York City. But the Edgar Allan Poe thing and the Baltimore Ravens being named after Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Remember what just happened on October 8th, the day after the anniversary of Poe's death. It was the 174th anniversary of his death this year. 174, right? Number of the beast, another thing related to Satan. Number of the beast, 174. Notice how Baltimore Ravens in that same cipher is 174, just like number of the beast. Notice how Baltimore alone is 95, and how if you spell out 666, it's 95. Edgar Allan Poe died in Baltimore. So Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Steelers in the same division as Baltimore, that was the game the day after the 174th death anniversary of Poe. And Mike Tomlin's record became 174-95. They beat Baltimore. Baltimore 95, Baltimore Ravens 174. Again, scripted football, scripted news, scripted politics, all synced up through the Jesuit cabal. But think about how perfect that ritual is, right? It's just undeniably perfect. And again, the number has a satanic connection, and the next thing you know, there's this show just days later released about making a deal with Satan. And just recently before that, they just announced that the upcoming Super Bowl, which, by the way, will be on the 95th birthday of the Vatican, February 11th, 2024, they just announced who the halftime performer is going to be, right? Who's it going to be for this year's halftime show? Usher. Usher. The Fall of the House of Usher. Again, this is what we're pointing out day after day, week after week, year after year. Remember what they did with the HBO remake of that video game about a zombie Fallout world, where it all starts in 1968, that infamous year? What's it called, like The Last of Us or something? HBO put out this show, The Last of Us. And then remember how the news all of a sudden started covering stories like The Last of Us was real? Every day CNN was like, oh, let's capitalize on the ratings of this show and present news stories to back up what the show's about. If you guys missed that, we were covering it all the time, but they changed a detail in The Last of Us video game for the show, which coincided perfectly with the Super Bowl because the episode came out right before the Super Bowl. In the video game, there's a scene where they travel through Pittsburgh. They travel through Pittsburgh and they get into a shootout. And keep in mind, Pittsburgh's in Pennsylvania like Philadelphia. And remember, last year's Super Bowl was Philadelphia versus Kansas City. And let's not forget, Len Dawson died by the numbers, the Kansas City great, on Kobe Bryant Day, who's from Philly, which foreshadowed the rigged Super Bowl to come last year. Len Dawson died exactly 172 days before the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs is 172. Again, he died on Kobe Bryant Day. He died on the 24th of August, 24 days before Patrick Mahomes' birthday, when Mahomes won his first Super Bowl at age 24, right after number 24, Kobe Bryant, died the Sunday prior. Remember, Kobe died at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass, when Kobe Bryant's 41, like Super Bowl. And his full name's Kobe Bean Bryant, which equals 54, like how he died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Going back to Cable 54 being the enemy of the world. But anyway, in that Last of Us episode, they changed it from Pittsburgh, where the shootout scene was, to Kansas City. That's not the way it was in the video game. They went from Pittsburgh to Kansas City, and they released the episode right before Kansas City wins in a shootout with Philadelphia in the rigged Super Bowl. And again, you look into the history of all these pro sports, there's been a lot of Jews in high places over the years. You look at the ownership of so many teams, a lot of them are Jewish men. You look at Hollywood, it's predominantly Jewish. So it becomes like a no-brainer. Who's making the shows that are scripted with the sports, that are scripted with the news? I mean, it's like, what are you, brain dead? You got to be brain dead to not see how it's all working. And then it's just like, when I was looking into this, honestly, in 2013, I was saying, well, there's a lot of Jewish people controlling the propaganda that I see. Again, numbers are very important to Judaism because the fourth book of the Bible is Numbers, and you got all kinds of texts like this, like Jewish wisdom in Numbers. You know, who else would be doing this? Again, the Catholics and the Jews came together in the time of the Protestant Reformation because Martin Luther said you couldn't have a decent Christian society with Catholics and Jews. They would make it perverse, they would ruin it. That was what the Protestant Reformation was about. And say what you will about that, but we live in a pretty perverse society right now, and it's no secret who's helping make it extra perverse. All this entertainment is so negative for humanity. Like what the average American, the stuff they're sitting down and watching, like what positive influence is it? It's just encouraging all kinds of negative behavior. But anyway, just think about how perfect it all is. The NFL, Netflix, HBO, the tributes to Satan, the perfect numbers in the episode. They got to just have all the numbers right there on the screen for you. They got to release the show on the perfect day. Again, 5 days after Poe's death, when the highest degree of the Satanic Church is mega, the fifth degree. And let's not forget how Anton LaVey died. Perfectly synced with the Pope. 201 days from the Pope's upcoming birthday, 201 days after his birthday. The Church of Satan, founded in San Francisco, named after St. Francis of Assisi, who created the Franciscans, which were the precursor to the Jesuits, the Jesuit Order 201. Edgar Allan Poe's from Boston. Remember the same day that Netanyahu came back, there was the biggest satanic ritual in forever in Boston. Same day, go back and look, December 29th, 2022, and the day Netanyahu returns. Huge satanic festival in Boston. See how Boston's 85-22 for the record, Satanic's 22. But it matters that it was 85-22 because then what happened? The big satanic ritual in Israel, where again, a lot of Jewish people now have to live in more fear, just like a lot of Muslim people, just like all the people of the world. So again, even though I'm calling out Jews in high places for doing this, You still can't blame all Jewish people. A lot of the Jewish people, the people of the world, doesn't matter what religion they are, they're all getting used in these rituals. But again, the day that the war popped off in Israel, October 7th, the day leaving 85 days left in the year, on the 22nd anniversary of the invasion of Afghanistan. So, satanic ritual in Boston probably factors in with Edgar Allan Poe being from there and all these things happening. Ended up dying in Baltimore, born in Boston, dead in Baltimore. And again, right after Usher is made the halftime performer, and it's going to be the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday. And yeah, the Vatican being this thing warned about in the Bible too that's satanic. It's amazing that nobody can see through any of this stuff. So that's the reality of the world we live in. You know, the show, I mean, it's more than a fictional show. I mean, the things that they're talking about are the exact things that are going on in the world. And are these people really protected by Satan so that they're untouchable because Satan's power is so great? That's what a lot of people come to my channel and complain about. They say, Zach, your work is missing the element. You need to talk more about how it's Satan doing all this and we can't do anything about Satan. Does it explain in the Bible that nothing can be done about Satan? I don't think it says that. I know it says Satan is the ruler of this earth and the prince of the air and all that. I know he comes to earth in Luke 10:18, like how they had to have their Event 201 simulation on 10/18, October 18th. Again, the Holy Bible's 201. That phrasing used in one place in the Bible for Satan, that old serpent is 201. But, yeah, again, it's like you guys have read the Bible and you like just thrown in the towel like, oh yeah, Satan runs the place, so I mean, what can we do about it? I'm just going to sit back and play Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto and, you know, jerk off and just believe in Jesus because, hey man, it's Satan's place and all I got to do to make sure I get the afterlife with all the pearls is just believe. I think you guys walked away learning the wrong lessons. I think whatever evil is, it can be defeated. I think defeating it would just be, you know, not embracing or being taken by the evil. Be like embracing the good things and learning how to fend off the evil. How to have discipline, you know. Again, it's just like you've seen in all the cartoons your whole life. Here's the devil on this shoulder and here's the good angel on this shoulder over here. Which one are you listening to? The devil's usually down for more fun. It's going to be more fun, more pleasurable, taste better. This one might not be as fun, but ultimately it's the right thing for the world. I mean, yeah, I feel like as a human being, I've done a good job in my life listening to this angel a lot more than this angel. Definitely not perfect. Sometimes this one's one over here, but I feel like I've definitely done this one a lot more. And I think that's the problem in the world. You don't see that. And again, these people that come and leave these comments, I feel like if I'm reading between lines, I'm like, I feel like what you're essentially saying is we should all just throw in the towel. It's Satan's world. It's just like that goon that probably is Joe Pesci's nephew who took my work and now makes it stupid and says everything's organic. He always says that, you know, all we can be in this world is the best little devils that we can be. And again, he comes from Hollywood. You know. Looks like a mafioso, if you know who I'm talking about. But he says it all the time. That's all we can be, the best little devils. Everything's organic. This world's predetermined. There's nothing you can do to change it. It's just going to keep being this way. And a lot of you guys come here listening to that shit. You think the world would be the way it was if everyone was like me? I guarantee you it wouldn't. Like I said the other day, a lot of these corporations wouldn't exist because I never spend $1 there. I see how evil and nefarious they are. You know, the sad thing about doing this research is it's pulled me back into the matrix. You know, I was doing like really all the right things that everyone in the world should be doing, but before I started doing the research and for the first 5 years of it. You know, I was staying out of the financial system, was not I had a cable internet connection, but I didn't have cable television. Again, I brought back some of these things just for the sake of doing the research. But at the end of the day, like if we wanted to defeat this cabal, imagine how less effective they'd be if nobody had a cable subscription. Nobody went to any of their bullshit. None of their movies. Didn't shop at their nasty corporations that are here to pollute your body. Again, McDonald's would be vacant. They'd all have to be taken down. Burger King, all these junk food places that trash yourself. Again, the way to win is to educate yourself about what is doing the evil in the world and then work to stop those things. But evil would come back. Okay, yeah, I'm sure it would. There's an evil side of human nature. But what if you diminished a lot of the things influencing people into bad behavior? What if you just destroyed those things and then, in their place, you put up things to continue to remind people about why it's better to resist temptation in some regards, because how that temptation can lead to big problems for not only yourself, but other people in the world. What if all of a sudden there's not a bunch of Jewish record executives that are putting out, you guys, it's no joke. Like literally putting out music that instigates all this bad behavior, from like cheating on people to murdering people to selling drugs. And then like literally start to look at the world and look at how many private prisons are owned by Jewish people. It's like, okay, so this Jewish record executive over here is making money on the records that are teaching people, because everyone wants to be like these 5'3" rappers, all these little rappers that are between 5 foot and 5'4", these big badasses that can't even reach 5'6", could hardly ride on the child fair ride. Again, look up the whole rap industry. Why are all these guys so small? Why do they get these little small rappers? Again, it's because they like to bend them over their desk, treat them like they're little ladies. But again, these guys are big badasses on the record. Please, these guys are little tiny men. But why are there so many? Anyway, you see the point I'm making. Why are there so many of these guys that are promoted to put out this trash music that promotes this really negative behavior? Why is there a group of synagogue of Satan types making all this money off these records, and then also making money off the privatized prisons that are mostly full of darker complected people who apparently are encouraged by this music and think they're going to be the next 5'3" rapper? They're like, shit, I'm 5'10", I'm 6 foot, man, I'm going to go even further. But instead they end up in the prison cell. It's like, how did he do it, but I can't do it? Again, because it's a game. You're getting fooled by the game. You're getting lured by the game. You're getting lured by the synagogue of Satan. But yeah, why are there so many of supposedly 1% of the world in so many high places? And again, it's not anti-Semitic. It's just facts. This cabal needs to be tearing down. That's not an anti-Semitic remark either. It's just we don't need synagogue of Satan people in high places persuading humanity into all the wrong behaviors for their profit and gain. And that's what this whole movie's about. At the end, they're saying, yeah, we might have killed millions of people, but look, we changed the world. We became wealthy. We became like living gods. It's like they don't even care. And again, you start to think about that. It's like, okay, that's kind of like the Talmud, right? The only point of the Goyim to exist is to be a slave race for the Jewish benefit. So, but yeah, again, this story right here reminds you it's not all Jewish people. Here's a Jewish woman who got sacrificed for another Jewish woman. And probably Netanyahu as well for his 74th birthday. Maybe they'll send over some of her rib meat. Netanyahu, here, we got some Samantha Wool rib meat. She's from Detroit, which is 322 years old this year. I think that's part of the reason this woman was taken too. Detroit turned 322 on July 24th, 247, while the Illuminati in the U.S. is 247 years old. Remember, they got the first win of the NFL season, those lowly Lions, keeping Andy Reid on 247 career wins at the time in the regular season. But remember, that was a 35 Thursday special, their first win in Kansas City in 35 years, Detroit. So, and funny enough, Detroit's playing Baltimore this weekend. Where Edgar Allan Poe died. So, but yeah, I look at that Dana Nestle and like literally like just that face. Doesn't it look like a witch? It literally looks like a witch, doesn't it? Look at her. Literally looks like perfect Halloween witch face. She's probably having some Samantha rib meat this weekend too. By the way, how these people are picked so perfectly. Samantha Wool in Gematria equals 139. She was the head of the Isaac Agree Downtown Synagogue, which equals 139. Like Freemasonry's 139. Like Jerusalem's 139. Like America's 139. Again, you can't spell Jerusalem without USA. And Freemasonry is Judaism for the Gentile because all the teachings are in the Old Testament. And about Detroit being 322 years old, remember, Genesis 3:22, the tree of life, the physical model for Kabbalah. 3 pillars, 22 paths on the tree of life. And somebody just left a comment the other day. Somebody said it's not called the tree of life in Kabbalah. It's just like, where do you guys get these? Like, do you guys research anything before you leave a comment, or are you just like some synagogue of Satan troll just trying to mislead people? They don't call it the tree of life in Kabbalah. Weird. They do. It's just like, I get tired of just reading the idiotic comments. It's like no good comments are hardly left anymore, and it's just nothing but trolls and morons. And synagogue of Satan's done a number on society. And yeah, you do read the Bible, and, you know, Satan, the ruler of this earth. I mean, it looks like that way. I mean, you look at most people, it's just like they're not good. They don't care about anything righteous. They go along with every agenda. I mean, how many morons right now are cheering on Israel? All Israel's doing is attacking a nation of women and children, killing women and children by the thousands, because that's pretty much all that lives there. And in the name of their clearly controlled opposition, which no doubt they fund, Hamas. That's why the ritual was so perfect. Again, Gaza equals 35. Hamas is 35 years old. The war was declared 35 days before the Superior General's birthday. Don't forget Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism. They all equal 35 like Europe. R.I.P. JFK number 35. Killed in a big Jesuit ritual. So, but yeah, honestly, you guys, this show, the fall of the House of Usher, you know, like right now, I haven't seen every movie or TV show there ever was, but this might be the most important movie/TV show. It's a series. It's not going to run more seasons. It's done. This might be the most important thing ever made from Hollywood in terms of just exposing what's going on. It's all laid out so perfectly. So if you do have Netflix, I'd highly encourage you that you watch this. Again, it's about a really sick, wealthy, powerful family with a bunch of spoiled children with, you know, an evil mindset, and again, how the deal with the devil, it comes due. And you just think about what we've been exposing for all these years, all these people who just die by these perfect numerical patterns over and over and over. And you think about Bob Dylan on 60 Minutes, you know, Bob Dylan who's Jewish. Here, let's find that clip real quick. Let's close it out with Bob Dylan, a Jew himself, talking about making a deal with the devil. Hold on. It's got to be here that clip. Bob Dylan, Ed Bradley, R.I.P. Ed Bradley, who died shortly after that. From 2004. Man, time flies. It's almost 20 years old. All right, here. 2 minutes. Here, this is going to be the clip right here. Let me make sure I got the sound settings right so this comes through. Got to switch the audio over. My voice will sound less clear, but the clip will play right. Okay. Let's get this turned up. 2004, 60 Minutes, Bob Dylan talking about selling his soul, otherwise he would have never been famous. And he's got a son in the music recording industry too. It would be something if somehow he ended up going first. Here we go.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
You ever look?
About that, just about the chief commander, how he used that terminology, I just want to point out that the same day that House of Usher show came out, that was the same day Patrick Mahomes got his 80th career win, on the day leaving 80 days left in the year when Satan's 80. So 19-8, that was also Aleister Crowley's birthday. And again, Aleister Crowley, the famous occultist who also supposedly, was satanic. That's another important point. Aleister Crowley. But Patrick Mahomes got his 80th career win right here. And just to show you that, Patrick Mahomes, where's he at? He's on 80 wins. That was his last career win. He'll play again today, but 80th win on the day, leaving 80 days left in the year. So just in light of the terminology, commander, chief. Okay, let's rewind a few more seconds. Here we go.
with the chief commander
On this earth?
and this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
You ever look at music that you've written and look back at it and say, whoa, that surprised me?
I used to. I don't do that anymore. I don't know how I got to write those songs.
What do you mean you don't know how?
Well, those early songs were like almost magically written. Darkness at the break of noon, shadows even the silver spoon, a handmade blade, a child's balloon.
Eclipses both the sun and moon to understand your new...
Okay, you guys can go back and watch the full interview, but I mean, it's blatant, isn't it? It's blatant. So, anyhow, R.I.P. to Samantha Wool. Hopefully she was a better person than Dana Nestle, but Dana Nestle, the witch, lives on. And again, it's just like how the show shows you. You know, you want some success, you're going to have to sacrifice some human beings. That's the devil's price. Yeah, I'll make you rich and famous, but you're going to have a company that kills millions. And then when I say it's time to collect, you die, your sister dies, and all of your bloodline dies. And then, as you'll see in the show, that's why the sister never had any children. And it's also why the man never really had a wife, but procreated with several different women. So, all right. Shout out to 13 Serpents again. Always very generous. Thank you, 13 Serpents. Thank you, Mike Rawson, for being a member for 5 months. And thank you again, Open Up. Yeah, it should be viral information. We know why it's not. Once upon a time, we had lots of videos that went viral, but the problem for exposing it so well for so long is I'm super clamped down, and again, we know who runs big tech too. It's no secret either, so it is no secret. All right, I think we'll leave it there for now, and shout out to Bob Bobertson as well. I don't know what that means. I don't know what hide the sausage is. Okay. Yeah, again, just for anyone who's new here, everything I talk about in this video, it's the same stuff I always talk about. Hollywood's perfect releases by the numbers, record labels' perfect releases by the numbers. It's obvious that the code is in full effect. So, and it's sad if, again, people weren't so low functioning, you know, didn't have such low IQs and low processing and lack common sense. This work, everybody'd be tuning in. They'd be sharing it everywhere. The world would be waking up. The world would be changing. But yeah, I think that's the thing about, you know, if you want to put things in terms of Satan and Jesus, I think Satan's just an easier path. People choose the Satan path because it's easier, it's more fun, and that's the bottom line, you know. Becoming aware of what's actually going on in the world, how dark and evil it is, to try and do something about it. These things are difficult, so these things will bring consequences. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Till next time.